I'd like to introduce Ronnie from the United States, who has multiple sclerosis. Welcome, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Could you tell me when you were diagnosed with MS?
1989.
And how old were you?
I was 32 years old. No, 35 years old.
And what symptoms were you experiencing that led to the diagnosis?
Well, I was losing my balance when I was dancing, which was very unusual for me. And I was wearing 3-inch heels and dancing and twirl around, and then I would feel dizzy, and all of my friends said, "That's ridiculous, all of us get dizzy, you know." And then I started wearing lower heels, and something was definitely wrong. So I went to the doctor. He sent me to a neurologist who asked me to walk a straight line and touch my nose and sat me down and told me I had MS.
And what impact did that have on your life and your family?
It was devastating. I had started a small business when I was 32 years old, and it was in its fledgling stages, and I was very much responsible for everything. And all of a sudden, this started to change everything in my life.
And what did the neurologist offer you when you were diagnosed?
Say that again?
What medication were you offered?
Nothing. At that time, in 1989, there was absolutely nothing. So they basically told you a story and sent you home to be miserable for the rest of your life.
Oh dear, doesn't sound too good, does it? How did you hear about LDN?
Well, I heard about it about 5 or 6 years ago in an article in a health newsletter. And I contacted Dr. Ronnie, who was doing research on LDN and MS in Milan, Italy. And luckily, she was coming through New York City to get to a conference, and I met with her, and I brought her copies of all my information, my medical history, a recent MRI, things like that. And she made a recommendation for me, and I was very lucky that my neurologist was willing to allow that and actually wrote the prescription for me.
Well, very good. And did your own doctor mind?
No, my neurologist is wonderful. And while she does not recommend LDN to anyone, if she respects the fact that I did a lot of research and that I really wanted to take it, and so she wrote the prescription for me. She will not suggest it to anyone else under any circumstances, but she will monitor me.
Well, that's very good. So did you have any initial side effects when you started LDN?
Actually, the side effects were the wonderful part. The reason I'm taking it is for the hope that it will stop the progression of my illness. I would say it has slowed the progression, not stopped it. But the side effects from day one were no more physical fatigue and much more mental clarity.
And that makes a big impact on your life, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And I say it's side effects because that was not the reason I'm taking it. But it turns out to be the most amazing benefit of taking it.
Well, so what symptoms do you have now, Ronnie?
Well, I live in a wheelchair. There's been a lot of damage to my body. I have, no ability to stand or walk anymore. My hands have been affected, the strength of my hands, my agility. But my mental clarity is fine now. It wasn't before I started taking LDN. but it is now, and I do not suffer from physical fatigue anymore.
What would you say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN but maybe a bit scared to take the plunge?
I would use myself as an example and highly, highly recommend it. The drug in this country, in the United States, I cannot get any kind of insurance coverage for it, but it's very inexpensive compared to any other drug that you take. It costs about $1 a day, I think. And it's very easy to take, either in a small capsule or a transdermal cream. And I have experienced no negative side effects.
That's very good. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Ronnie?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Ronnie. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.